What we done started. Look at what we done started. This the people party. Peace and love, party people, and the place to be is Talib Kweli, the BKMC, the MCEO, the Little Lebowski Urban Achiever. This is another fantastic and wonderful episode of the world's best podcast, People's Party. And as always and as usual, I have my funny and thought-provoking and beautiful and hilarious co-host, best podcast co-host in the game, Jasmin Leigh in the place to be. How you feeling?
You know what? I am feeling very mushy and very excited for our guest. This is one of the reasons I do comedy. Not this, he is one of the people that I watch because I didn't grow up watching stand-up. Okay. I watched it at the Comedy Union. Okay. And I'm excited.
I'm excited too. You look very sporty today.
You know, I'm about to go play some ball afterwards.
Okay.
Ball.
Well, we're about to get into it. Today's guest is one of my favorite people to follow on social media. And we met today in the flesh, so I feel like we're real friends, even though we only know each other through social media. But he is not just a social media influencer or content creator. He is an actual creative, an actor, a stand-up comedian, one of the funniest people that you've seen emerge out of this social media comedy scene. You've seen him on Last Comic Standing. You've seen him on Comics Unleashed and All Def Comedy. You've probably seen or heard his voice on his voiceover work. He has a very smooth jazz, very soothing voice. Over the past 10 years, he's racked up a bunch of film credits. One of my favorite shows, Carmichael's Show, he did a very, very small bit on that show. He was on Stepford Side Chicks, which I haven't seen, but just the title alone, I want to see this show. He was once cut out of the movie Whiplash. His comedy specials, he's done 2 comedy albums. I want to get into the art of the comedy album, but the comedy album that garnered him a lot of recognition was Scaredy Cat is widely considered a modern classic. He stays busy. He stays on the road. Everybody loves a Bakerism. He is respected so much in his world. He is a master of his craft. Give it up for Tony Baker in a place to be. Yeah.
Oh, the intro.
You made it, bro.
Come on, man.
I think he shed a single Bermucci tear out there.
Dang, man.
Yes,
you
man.
give the best intros
Hey, man.
in the game, man.
Well, you've earned it, and that's one of my favorite parts of doing this show is doing the research on the guests so that I can give the proper intro.
The intro is just, you let that intro sit in the pot on a low flame for 18 hours. I need him to go everywhere with me just to intro me up.
That's right. I'll come out with the cape,
Man.
put over you like James Brown and do the intro.
You know what I'm saying?
Ladies and gentlemen, approach the stage right now.
Yes. Yes.
So you are the youngest of 3 boys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Growing up as the youngest of 3 boys, what did being the youngest teach you specifically about comedy and performing for an audience?
It really ruined my comedy because they never laughed at my jokes at home. Because they were older, so, I'm the baby. Like, there's a 6-year gap between me and my middle brother and a 10-year gap between me and my oldest. So I was just the little baby boy running around. So, but they never laughed at my jokes.
You'd be like, is this thing on?
Yeah. So it'd be like, I'd be trying to get in on the little jokes with their friends, and I would add in something, and they'd be like, yeah, beat it. And so when I was in school, I was being funny, but when they would laugh, it wouldn't register because I'm like, yeah, but my brothers don't be laughing at me. So I never even considered myself a funny person until I was grown.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just like, it don't even matter. And then with the girls, it was like, you're funny. And I'm like, let me forget all that, man. I'm trying to, what's up?
Right.
Trying to be all smooth. You didn't want to be funny when you were younger.
You learn later, though, as you become a grown man now.
Absolutely.
The funny is helpful when it comes to
absolutely.
women.
But the girls back then, when they're teens and young.
Not for me. I'm good on funny men.
Are you like serious niggas? Huh? You like them serious ass niggas?
You know what? Let's
I feel like young girls aren't looking for the funny when they're young. So when we're young, they looking for the athlete or the smooth.
Which when you're older,
the
for
cat
sure.
with the dope clothes.
Right.
If you were funny, you were just my friend.
Right.
Man,
friend zone.
Friend zone.
But then when you get older, they looking for like, man, I just want to feel good because I've been raked over the coals by
the other dudes.
Honestly, the funnier you are, the more handsome you look to a lot of women.
Yeah, and there's that.
Right. The serious guy is a 7, but if he was funny. He'd be like a 9.
Talib, you know I have switched back over, so I'm not looking at any number of guys anymore. I'm good.
Jasmin be hopping over the lines. You
I'm
know
back
what
over.
side
I'm
she
back
on.
over the line.
She's non-binary.
Yeah,
You know, I had to explain that to my friend. He's an engineer. He was like, I just don't get the non-binary. I'm like, there's zeros and then there's ones, right? You a fucking engineer, right? Okay, everything else outside of that, that's non-binary.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's very simple. Now, you and I have a lot to talk about because we have a lot of things in common. We have a lot of common interest.
Okay.
But we're going to start early in life.
Okay.
And one of our shared common interests is a love of cold cereal.
A cold cereal.
Cold cereal.
I am cereal.
I mean, I used to eat bowls and bowls.
Man. Cereal to me, it's like I said in my joke, it's the true soul food. Like you will eat a bowl of cereal for no reason. It never really fills you up. You're never full. You're never sitting there like, oh God, man, I'm done. Like, what'd you have? 2 bowls of Honey Bunches of Oats. You never feel sluggish.
Is that your favorite?
Who's eating Honey Bunches of Oats for fun?
Well, now that's like my
delicious.
favorite.
Oh, because it's your age. Oh, I'm sorry, not to be an ageist, but it is.
Guess what? Hold on.
No.
There will not be any Honey Bunches of Oats slander on this show.
It's
At what
fantastic.
age did you start eating Honey Bunches of Oats?
When it came out. I'm old enough to remember when that shit came out.
Yeah, I remember when it came out. I remember the commercials. And they had the black lady on the commercial.
That don't make me want to eat it.
She was working at the plant.
She was at the
like,
plant.
Honey Bunches of Oats.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that?
If it was good enough for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had the hairnet.
Come on. What's your favorite, Jasmin?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay.
But I only eat it dry.
Yeah.
Or
What'd
peanut
you
butter.
say?
I only eat it dry. Because, listen, my mother, love you, Mom, she used to force me to drink the extra milk after I ate my
That's the
cereal.
best part.
It's not the best part.
That's
It's
the
like
best
soggy
part.
cereal bits in the milk.
No.
And I did not like drinking the milk. And my mom was like, you're wasting the milk. I said, the milk already did its job.
You're
I didn't
wrong.
waste it.
Yeah, you're
wrong.
You're definitely wrong.
Here's why you're wrong.
You're definitely wrong.
The Cinnamon Toast Crunch milk is perfect because you got the cinnamon in the milk.
That's
you
right.
You would order that from Starbucks.
I would not. I do not like milk.
That's right. Listen, how about Cocoa Krispies and then when you finish it, it's chocolate milk?
Yes, you get the chocolate milk.
But you still got the soggy cereal in there, too.
Cocoa Krispies doesn't get soggy, it's crispy.
It's soggy as soon as you look at it. What are you talking
Rice
about?
Krispies does get soggy
As
fast.
soon as you look at it.
It gets soggy fast.
You blink and it's soft.
But it's just
Ow.
a little, you never even feel it. You got to close it. You're looking at the milk when you're drinking it. That's the problem.
That is the problem was that the one time I did it, my mom should have not said anything, and I probably would have went back to drinking it.
Yeah.
But once she forced me, it was like, nah, I'm good on it.
Oh, so you just being
So
petty.
I just cut out cereal altogether. I was like, I'm not gonna
No,
eat your
Cold
cereal.
cereal is amazing. I grew up on it. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, of course.
Classic.
What do you think is the most popular cold cereal in America?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah.
Like when I do, because sometimes I talk about that on stage. Whenever I say Cinnamon Toast Crunch, it gets the biggest reaction every time.
Well, I looked this up, and I think Cinnamon Toast Crunch is number 4, I think.
What's number
Oh,
one? I'm
snap.
so
This is
excited
number
to hear.
4?
See, the white guy knew. Cheerios.
Cheerios number 1?
Plain, not even Honey Nut.
Not even a Honey Nut?
Plain
shocked.
ass
You got
Cheerios.
a regular Cheerios.
old-
Who did this poll?
A bunch of Steve Bermucci's.
There you go, see?
Nah, man.
Cinnamon
In the
Toast
black
Crunch is number
community,
3.
Cheerios is not number 1.
No, Cheerios. You hated Cheerios, and you had to beg for Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Number 2 is Rice Krispies. Number 3 is Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay.
So number 3 is Cinnamon Toast
Yeah.
Crunch. Rice Krispies is number 2?
You got to put mad sugar in Rice Krispies.
I
for it
think
to
it's
taste
only
good.
because of the Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what it is.
that's true.
But regular Cheerios being
But why-
number 1, that's ridiculous.
I think it's maybe, I don't know. Cheerios is like, it takes on the form of anything you put. It's so plain, it just, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think I like who eats plain Cheerios. Not even a honey nut. Oh yeah,
Serial killers.
he's a
Serial
serial
killers.
killer. I don't trust him.
Serial
I don't
killers
trust
eat
him.
regular cereal with no sugar
No
added.
sugar.
They look out the window thinking about their next victim.
Bland ass
Whole
cereal.
homogenized milk.
Oh,
Not
tough.
oat milk, not
just-
1%, none of that
Just
shit.
They
regular
eat
ass
grape
red
nuts.
cat milk.
Grape
no
nuts.
add-on. That's when you a serial killer. With.
Muslix and all
Because
that.
your Muslix is that fully grown. That's when you got a mortgage.
Yo, what about King Vitamin?
I never had it.
What
Never
is
had
that?
it?
Is
I
that
always thought I was
non-name
better
brand?
than King Vitamin, and here's why.
Why?
It was a real man on the box.
A white man, an old white
I
man.
never liked a real man.
King Vitamin. You guys have lost me. When did that come out?
So King Vitamin was a cereal back in the day. They actually changed the old white man to a cartoon.
Okay.
Back in the days, it was an old white man
Yeah.
with a scepter
Yep. And a crown.
and a crown.
He was a real man
He's a-
with the cereal.
Can
I'm
I
like,
just
yo.
say, I promise you, after this interview, y'all are gonna be besties because y'all are like.
I don't want to see a
here.
real person I can look up on the cereal box.
Right.
They need to be animated or animal or animated. That's the only way.
No,
this is a regular dude.
Right.
You didn't say.
No, hold on. Before you go into that, because we talked about the Rice Krispies and the chocolate milk. In your pap smear joke, you talk about chocolate milk being served in schools, and we all got chocolate milk in schools.
Right.
And chocolate milk, you called it poor meal management.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Because they would give us chocolate milk with pizza. They would give us chocolate milk with spaghetti. They would give us chocolate milk with taco bowls. That doesn't match as a meal. Like, you can't. As grown, we're all adults in here.
Anything.
You've never ordered fettuccine Alfredo and chocolate milk. Right. That just doesn't match.
Right.
You never washed your meal down with chocolate milk like that. It's just like, it'd be disgusting on a date. Imagine you on a date and she washing the pasta dish down with some chocolate milk.
In their defense, people do drink chocolate martinis, which is the same thing as chocolate milk, just with liquor in it.
How is that the same thing?
It's exactly the same thing.
Not the same thing.
Chocolate it's exactly liqueur? The same thing.
No, it's not. That's not.
It's just liquor and chocolate milk.
That's not chocolate milk. No, they don't put chocolate milk in chocolate martinis.
Yes, they do.
What kind of hood-ass martini bars you going to?
It's not actual milk, but it tastes like chocolate milk.
No, it's chocolate liqueur.
Oh, so it's like the Baileys.
You have to put a milk substance
No, it's
in
not
there.
even like Baileys. Baileys is even more milky than chocolate liqueur.
It's a cream as well that goes with the chocolate martinis.
That's not chocolate milk.
I know it's not actually chocolate milk. It's like adult chocolate milk. It is.
Is it thick though?
It's not thick. No, it's not thick.
It is. It's as thick as you want it to be.
Somebody made you a chocolate martini with some Nestle Quick. Huh?
Shut up,
They put the thick ass powder in the martini.
Yeah, they was like, just stir it up.
Vodka and Nestle.
They were shaking it
I
up.
didn't even drink vodka.
Some vodka and gin and some Nestle Quick.
Now that's a hood teeny.
A hood teeny. But yeah, that's why I say that, because they had us drinking that in public school, and it was just like, this does not match.
We had to learn, and we had to unlearn those behaviors and learn how to be healthy as we became adults.
For sure. Yeah. If I were to read stats like I do now as a kid, that would save me a lot of weight growing up, because I was just eating whatever. And government cheese.
Right.
Yeah.
And government cheese was life. Hard to slice, too. It was.
I don't really exactly remember what government cheese looked like.
Like blocks.
I remember it vividly.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
It's a big, long block of just cheese. And you had to cut it. You had to come in hot. You needed a sword or an axe.
I see why you're vegan now.
Oh, yeah.
So you didn't start comedy till 2008, which, is not as young as some people started. They start like 18, 19. So why do you think that comedians are better as they're older? And how would you compare the start of your career to where you are now?
So I started when I was 31. So, I'm 45 now. So when I started, I was already a grown man.
Right.
I had kids. So you come in with a unique perspective of just living life longer, for one, more experiences, and your confidence is different. Because if you start at 18, you don't really know who you are yet as a person. So I'm going in. I don't know who I am, as a comedian, but I know I'm a man. I went through all of this, raising children, being broke, college debt. I got stories to tell. So I'm just up there like, all right. And so we're always at the mercy of the audience. You can take an L any night of the week.
Any night.
No matter who you are as a comedian. And so you go in there with that fear, but beneath it is like, I'm a grown man. I still got to take my kids to school in the morning, whether I lose or not. So I think having that perspective just gave me a little bit more confidence. So when I was hitting the stages, and when I started stand-up, I never stopped. It was like I did the first open mic, and I never stopped until the pandemic, to where it was like, because some people be in and out of comedy.
Yeah.
They'll start and then they'll quit. It's just, life happens, and then they come back, and every time they come back, it shows. It's like, man, they're not hitting the same, but you got to get your feet back together, because it's all about reps in comedy. And the drive of, I got to provide for these kids, I can't take this lightly. I'm away from home, away from the boys, so it's just like, I got to take this seriously. And so I took it as a business too.
Yeah, I find with hip hop, I don't know about other forms of music, but in hip hop in particular, as an artist, I feel like you get better as you get older.
Yeah.
But I feel like in comedy, that's more rewarded in hip hop. I feel like in comedy, as you get better, the older you get, the more opportunities there are for seasoned comics. The more things you have, the more skills you have, the more directions you can go, the more revenue streams you can create.
Right.
With hip hop, it's the exact opposite. You get better as an artist, but those revenue streams and those dry up for you as a hip hop artist. You have to be adept to do other things.
Right.
I just think that's interesting. That's one of the things MCs respect about comedians.
Right.
Is that the older you get, the more respect you get in the craft.
Because there's a lot of ageism in hip hop.
Yeah.
They look at you like, you still rapping, you're 45. You know, it's like, and I feel like that's unfair because the other genres of music don't get that. The Rolling Stones are mummies up there on stage. No disrespect, but they 107.
Imagine a rapper starting at 31.
Man, they be like, man, look at this old cat, man. It's too late for you. Even before you spit one bar. They're like, man, you got a whole family, man. Look at this dude coming in the game now. And I think that's unfair because, you know, because I look at Black Dog, for example, who hasn't lost a lyrical step.
Yeah, the more gray hairs he gets, the more better he gets lyrically.
And even Jay, like, you know, when he dropped that verse he did on Khaled's last album, people were just like, yo, man, this is the second coming of...
And here's a controversial take. That wasn't even Jay-Z's best recent verse.
I agree.
It's just people was... fascinated by it because it's him standing on his reputation.
Right.
And it's him saying, oh, listen, I know exactly who I am and I'm not going to humble myself to make y'all feel better.
And to hear that from Jay, it's like, yo, this is the new gospel right here. And, you know, personally, I feel like his verse was stronger on many verses on 444.
Right. I mean, that was a strong verse.
Yeah.
But I think the length of it added to the mystique of it. Like, oh, you have the audacity to get on the song with these other incredible MCs.
Right.
And to bar everybody out like this?
Yeah.
Very audacious.
And we were hanging on by the words.
Yeah.
We were tuned in because none of it was fluff.
Right.
And so that's what made it more compelling because it was like, it wasn't just him bragging. It was just like.
That's true.
Speaking facts. But you know what it is? Hip hop is still a newer, you know, genre. So we don't really know how it looks as rappers get older. And a lot of rappers don't get old.
Yeah.
That's
So,
a good
you know,
point.
like, we don't know, like, but do we want to see somebody in a wheelchair rapping?
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
For sure.
All right.
I want to see them wheeled on the stage. And I want to see them
I've
wheels
seen-
You don't
rock.
need a good hype man
I mean,
behind
I've seen,
him.
look, Jay Dilla, rest in peace. You know, rest in peace to Dave New York. Dave New York used to wheel Jay Dilla out and to perform.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Daryl Chill Mitchell.
Yeah.
I'm
he was
talking
a
about like
rapper.
100-year-old.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there. So I'll start with Jay Dilla, who passed away young in his 30s.
Right.
And then you had Daryl Chill Mitchell, who had an accident, who had a burgeoning rap career. He was in House Party.
Yep.
And then he parlayed being in a wheelchair to be an actor in a wheelchair.
Yep.
So he represents for the disabled or differently abled actors.
Right.
And then you have T. La Rock. T. La Rock, okay, I don't think he was in a wheelchair, but T. La Rock, I think, got dementia or amnesia or something happened to T. La Rock where he lost his entire memory and ended up like in a old folks home.
Oh, wow.
And someone discovered him in an old folks home, did a story on him, and was telling him, you did this song, it's yours. You did this classic.
Wow.
And he had to be reminded that he did this record, this classic hip hop record, and now he's back to performing it.
Really?
Yeah.
I never even heard this story.
Now-
I gotta look it up to see some of those details I might have off, but
That's
the
fine.
T. La Rock story, you know, this is a senior citizen in our culture who's going through some real shit
Right.
and is back to rapping, and I'm here for it.
That's dope.
Now, can I just clarify before I get some hate?
Shredded up.
I did not mean people that are in a wheelchair that happen to just be disabled. I meant,
You meant old.
wheelchair as in elderly people, as
Right.
in 100 getting pushed out to the wheelchair.
Clearing
And
your
they-
name.
Right. So there's a lot of ageism in
That's
hip
what I'm
hop, is what
talking
you were
about.
saying.
Definitely ageism. And
Okay, it's ageism, not
she
disability,
agreed.
hate.
She didn't
I'll
want to
take
see
the
old
ageism.
rappers.
Listen,
So what's the age cap for you then?
don't try and throw me under the bus.
Hold on, we're not answering this.
What's the cap for
We're
you?
interviewing you.
Now, what I will say is I'm just asking. I mean, there's not really what rappers are like 100 years old yet, right?
I mean, well,
So-
Chuck D is 68.
Don't put my uncle in this either. Come on, I love you, Uncle
Flav is
Chuck.
what, 66?
Is he?
Yeah,
See,
man.
so we're not even up there yet. But when
Wow.
they get into that 100 years old age, I don't think they should still be I don't think rock and rollers should be performing either. I think it should be chilling out and relaxing.
But the problem is that if you're in the Rolling Stones, if you're Chuck D, this is who you are. This is it. You perform, and that's who you are as a human being.
Right.
You can't stop. I went on James Brown's last tour in November of the year that he passed away that Christmas.
Right.
I was on the road with James Brown, Bahamadia, Estelle,
Oh, wow.
Supernatural, and James Brown was in a wheelchair, except for when he was on stage.
Really?
The rest of the time, he was being pushed in a wheelchair, suited and booted. He would sit like this. He would sit like Jared, right?
Oh, Jared's not
Right? He would sit
here,
like
but we know
Jared,
the sit.
and he would have a scarf and you know what I'm saying? He would look great, and they would wheel him up to the show, and he'd get up there, and he'd have a bunch of women do the dances.
Yeah.
He didn't do the
Right.
dances. All these women, these background dancers, they did all the James Brown dances. And he would do a couple of grunts and a couple of ha, and then get back in that wheelchair. I didn't know he was gonna pass away in a month when I was seeing this.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget seeing that because I'm like, say what you want. I don't know what his financial situation was.
Right.
I don't know if he had to be on that tour, but the real ones,
Yeah.
from Prince to Michael Jackson to James Brown, they do it to death. That's not
Right.
just a song.
Yeah.
They do it to death.
It's in them. It's ingrained
That's who
in.
they are.
Now I have one more question about this. Now, should they change what they are rapping about as they get older?
I think, speaking for the hip hop community, not only should they, but they actually do. I have a lyric on my new album where I say, every gangster rapper who turns 40, who makes it past 40, turns conscious. And it just happens. We about to interview Mount Westmore. We about to interview E40, Too Short, Ice Cube. Now, Ice Cube has always had that conscious thing going.
Right, for sure.
But Ice Cube, he used to be so conscious and so hard.
Yeah.
And then he was like, we be clubbing? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
And he took a break from that, and he's like, okay, I'm out in the club. It's
Right.
I'm letting y'all know I could do party music
Right,
if I
right.
want to do that.
Right.
But then when he got out of that deal and got back with Tony Draper, he started putting out albums in the mid 2000s. He went back to that everything's corrupt, went back to
Right.
dissing Trump, went back to like this and that.
Yeah.
But I'm listening to recent E40 and Too Short records, and on E40's album from 2018, he had Dr. Cornel West on that album.
Oh, wow.
You understand what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
E40 with a Cornel West feature.
Yeah.
I'm listening to a record from Too Short called Information on his last record from a record called Volt. He got a record where he's talking about colonization and why
wow.
the history books in the schools, they try to take the Europeans, try to make it a European standard of education. And
Wow.
these is Too Short bars.
Did he say bitch on that same track?
Not on that song,
Okay.
but on that album.
You can always throw a
for
bitch
sure.
in
No,
there.
that album came out in 2019. He going hard on it. He going hard.
Wow.
He pimping. He like gorilla pimping in the first 3-4 songs.
Yeah.
But by the 5th song, 6th song, he mellows out.
Right.
And then by the last song, Information, he's talking about Native Americans and indigenous populations. And, they got a new song on this new album called Tribal. Ice Cube saying some shit.
Yeah.
Like, he don't give a fuck.
That's prime Ice Cube though. When he's in that bag,
Yeah.
that's prime real estate Ice Cube. Because that's what he came out as. So it's just
Not
like,
giving a
man,
fuck, saying
you know
what he
I'm
needs to
saying?
say.
And to answer your question about should they change about what they're rapping about, and I agree with you, they do change gradually, and you really do have because for me, like when I listen to Jay-Z, for example, I feel like I didn't know who he really was until December 4th.
You know who Jay-Z
Black
is?
Album.
Jay-Z now is me in high school.
Oh, wow.
I used to have dreads, like the Basquiat looking dreads in high school.
Yep.
And I used to rap like how Jay-Z rap now.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, okay, Jay-Z, when he doesn't have to have a record on the charts, when he doesn't have to pull Rockefeller over the finish line for the 4th quarter,
Right.
when he doesn't have to have a club banger,
Yeah.
he raps like Talib Kweli, which is what he
said
said
that a long time ago.
A long time ago.
How'd you feel when he dropped your name on that song?
I felt seen and heard, and I felt like I was on the right path because Jay-Z said it was like a open secret in the industry that we all fuck with each other, we all listen to each other's music,
Right.
and that we all really doing the same thing. But the fans and the way it was marketed to the fans was different. It was marketed to the fans like this commercial rap, this gangster rap, this conscious rap.
Right.
But within the artist circle, we all appreciating each other.
Yeah. So you was like, man.
Yeah.
And had you met him by that time?
So I met him in 2003. So that was before that came out.
Okay.
So I met him probably when he was recording that album.
Gotcha.
Because
Okay.
that album came out 2004.
Yeah.
2006?
That was on the Black Album.
Black
so that
Album.
was 2004.
2004, which means I met him when he was recording that album.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were heavy on his mind. And I met him at Lincoln Center because he was doing a show with The Roots. He's starting to tap in to this type of thing at that time.
Right.
He's wearing Che Guevara sweaters on MTV Unplugged and all that.
That's right, because The Roots did his music on the Unplugged album. That's why Nas took a little shot at the time.
So when I met you, I was a cocktail server at Comedy Union.
At the Comedy Union on Pico.
On Pico, shout out to Comedy Union, Black-owned comedy club.
Mm-hmm.
And from then to now, you are still with the same crew.
Yeah.
Keon Poley, Brandon Lewis, Kev on Stage, Keenan Baker.
Yep.
So can you speak to the importance of finding your own crew in the comedy world, and especially in Los Angeles, one of the loneliest places in the world?
Right.
Is that an editorial comment? You out here like Michael B. Jordan.
What do you mean?
With the editorials.
For me, like, I've always been a fan of crews and teams and like groups and squads. That's why I gravitated towards, I grew up reading comic books. So X-Men was my favorite comic book to ever exist. And the Avengers and Justice League, I'm like, man, I like teams because you get all these different people coming together and working together all the time, and you can pick your favorites from there. So you always wanted to have a dope crew or a dope team, and joining the gang was never an option for me because my mom would have literally killed me. So I was like, well, I can't do that. And then, so your life is at risk. So, I've always like, man, when you watch stuff with crews, that's me in the crew, or that's me right there. I'm Leonardo. Leonardo's my favorite Ninja Turtle.
I just watched the Ninja Turtles, the 2016 one with Tyler Perry in it as the villain.
Oh, wow.
I forgot about that.
I just watched it like 2 nights ago with my son. I had to show him, like, this is Ninja Turtles. So.
Right. Who's your favorite turtle? I asked the hard-hitting questions on the show.
The green one.
You said the green one?
Leonardo,
man. Yes. Leonardo's the guy. Because initially when you're young, you'd be like, Michelangelo's the fun guy.
Right, he likes pizza.
Yeah, he's cool, hang to on the way. This the guy. And then when you get older, you like, what, Leonardo, though, he had a head on his shoulders. Right. And he wasn't a hothead like Raphael. And then, I never related to Donatello because I didn't do that well in school. So it was just like, Leonardo. But back to your question.
They just didn't know what to test you on. That's what it was.
One thing about me with doing stand-up and why I never really got lost in L.A. is because I moved out here with a family. So I wasn't thirsty I wasn't desperate to find a crew. It was just more organic for me. So it was just like, I can have friends or I can not. I honestly didn't care, you know what I'm saying? Because I had a family at home. So I was never like searching for someone to latch on to. So these guys that I created relationships with, it was just organic. It was just like, but I was looking out for the comedians that were younger than me. Like I remember meeting Chaz, and he was just like, man, I like this dude's energy right here. So I was like, once I like you, I was like, man, you good? You need a ride? And I had a car. So that was a big thing, like, giving comedians rides home. I would just drop them off all the time. And then like with Brandon Lewis, it was always Brandon Lewis, Ezel, and they had like a crew with them all the time, and they just felt young. Like, I'm like, man, y'all young, man, y'all good. And so I would drop them off in the jungles all the time. And like, that's how my relationships formed with those comedians. And it just came from an organic flow. And it was just like, all right, I like to surround myself with good energy, good people, and looking out for these cats. And, I stick around until, you do something to piss me off to where I can't. Because, if I lose trust in you, then I kind of don't go back, really. I'm kind of just like, but you said this. And I won't forget. It's that Taurus trait, I guess. But it would be like, nah, you did something shady. Forgive me. I kind of forgive you, but not really.
Yeah.
Forgive,
so,
not forget.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, I don't forget stuff.
Keep your head on swivel.
Yeah. So, but with that crew, and Kev on Stage came in later when I met him doing Nate Jackson's room up in Washington. And I saw Kev on Stage, and I was just like, I like this guy, man. We had similar perspectives. He had 2 sons, too. I like this dude right here. And little did I know, he was like, I like Tony Baker, man. He's my favorite comedian. I'm going to be friends with him one day. I didn't know that's what he was thinking. And so when he came to work with All Def Digital, he would just bring me in. And so now we formed this great friendship, business relationship that's fantastic. So,
I like Kev on Stage a lot. I like his energy a lot. I like what he brings to the table.
Yeah,
as an entertainer and as an organizer of entertainers.
Oh, absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You're a Chicago native.
Yes.
Windy city.
Yeah.
City has a very storied history with comedy. A lot of great comics, a lot of great rooms in Chicago, a lot of great legacy from Bernie Mac on down.
Yeah.
How does the Chicago scene differ from places like New York and Los Angeles to you?
Well, it's tough for me because I started comedy in LA. So that's my origin story. I started here. I came out here to act. And then I was like, man, dog, I'm just, because the fantasy is I'm going to come here to act. I'm going to get off the Greyhound. And the director's going to be like,
right.
You
in a movie.
We've been looking for.
Right now.
I want you to lead. And my next film. When you hear about Derek Luke getting discovered by Denzel Washington when he was working at a gift shop, you like, that's the play.
Right. It's more like Bowfinger.
Yeah.
It ain't like that at all.
That's a slept on Eddie Murphy movie,
It's
by
great.
the way.
Everybody in that movie, the performances is out of control.
So
Mindhead.
Man, dog. Slept on
Keep
Jim.
it together.
Slept on Eddie Murphy, Jim. But when you get here, the cold reality is everybody's out here pursuing that same thing. So you get lost in the sauce. So I'm doing extra work. I'm just trying
Jasmine
to
know
get my feet
about
together.
the extra work life.
Man.
I was called the Holly Berry of backgrounds.
That extra work is real,
it pays
man.
the bills, baby, and it teaches you the behind the scenes and how to run stuff.
And network, and you learn so much from doing extra work. But I'm like, man, I need something else, man. I got these kids, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to lean on the craft as the bread and butter. I dropped out of college for this. So then I was like, man, they've been saying I've been funny. So let me try stand-up as a way of exposure. Like I'm thinking about all the stand-up comedians that transitioned into acting, Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, Damon Wayans, and I'm just like, let me do stand-up and see, what I can get from there.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I did stand-up one time, fell in love with it. I was like, this is what I was supposed to be doing the whole time. Now I look at acting as like second.
Right.
To where if I get an acting gig, I'm like, cool.
And it's crazy because the people you mentioned, Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy, Michael Keaton, these are all people who started out in the stand-up world, Tom Hanks, and went on to not just become serious dramatic actors, but award-winning, Academy, Oscar award-winning dramatic actors to the point where if I'm looking at talent level, I'm looking for the stand-ups because I'm like, the stand-up could get on stage with no script. And deliver. You as an actor, you need a director, a script, a movie. You need all this stuff, and the stand-up could step and do that too.
Right, for
Stand-up
sure.
could come and do what you do, but
For
you
sure.
can't come and do what the
And
stand-up.
everybody can be funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's like people. They hire stand-ups all the time. They're like, all right, man, we need to carry this. Even Adam Sandler, when he did his serious roles, he would always get critical acclaim. And, down the broken Uncut Gems, where it was just like, man, how did the Oscars ignore this?
And when you see Uncut Gems, he's playing a serious role, and it's a dramatic movie, but you can see, if you study comedy and study acting, you can see how the comedy chops enhance that character.
Absolutely.
You can see the comedy chops working in his serious acting.
Absolutely, yeah. Because he had to be charming. In that particular movie, he had to be charming in some way to convince people to invest that money back into him so he can make his bet or whatever. And I just feel like, even when I was watching Damon Wayans, I did a movie night with my Patreon people, and we watched The Last Boy Scout.
That was a good one.
Man, that's
the
my
football,
favorite.
The scene with the shot in the knee.
Oh, yeah.
That's classic cinema right there.
And it was like, Damon Wayans was able to take it to that dramatic area when he's telling Bruce Willis in the bathroom, like, you think you better than me, and what I had to go through in the football league, and then he was just, giving us that emotional backdrop to why he was on these, painkillers or whatever, drooling blood. And I'm just like, man, this stand-up comedian is delivering on the dramatic front right now. Right. So it's just like, and for me, I did theater before, so I'm ready for the dramatic roles.
Yeah, that's what I did
please. Too. Let me do drama. It's easier than doing comedy.
Yeah. It is, because it's not your material. Like, it's a character. So it's like, if you don't like this character, whatever, I don't give a crap. You don't like them. If they don't like my comedy, they don't like me. And, I came out here for acting too, and ended up working at Comedy Union, watching the comedians get in trouble for not working, and then like, oh, let me try this comedy.
Especially with Ends, man.
Shout out to Ends, man. I stayed in trouble. But Do you remember Next Stage Theater, my late night show that I used to have Wednesday nights?
Yep.
What the Fuck Wednesdays?
Yep. On the second floor.
On the second floor. So you gave me some advice, and I mean, I still host now, and you were like, you're doing too much time in between the comedians. You need to stop. It's too much. And, you know, it was very good advice because you're like, no one's going to want to do your show. You're up there for a half hour in between every comedian. We should have been done yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank you for being honest with me, and I want you to share why you feel it's so important to give advice like this to young comedians, and why do you feel that everyone doesn't do that?
Everyone doesn't give advice?
No.
That's because insecurities, or they just feel like you'll figure it out on your own. You got this tough love demographic of older comedians that feel like you got to go through the rough stuff.
Right.
That'll make you a better comedian. Ain't nobody help me, so why should I help you type of mentality. And for me, it's like if I have a note, I can give it to you just to try to help. And some people receive the notes, some people don't. But I'd rather just do that than, you know, withhold the information because I feel like coming up in the comedy game, you know, I've experienced those long shows where the shows go on for like 4 hours, and then I'm getting on stage at 1:15 a.m. and it's just like, you know, the audience is hanging on by a thread. There's 3 people left. Man, and I'm just like, I still got to go up. I'm paying the meter. Man. And it's like, you know, and one thing about me, and a note that I give the comedians too, don't shortchange the audience if it's a small turnout. Like if your show only got 3 people in that audience, you give them 100% because those 3 people, they paid and they want to see a good show. You know, it'd be comedians up there, oh man, it's empty anyway. Who gives a shit? You know, and they just half-ass. I'm like, that's not fair to the 3 people that paid. Just those little nuggets of just like, you know, keep the show shorter. Like less is more. I have a less is more mentality, and a lot of black shows, comedy shows, let's get 18 comedians on the show. You look at the flyer, it's 27 comedians on the goddamn flyer.
Same with hip hop.
And it's just like we push them to the audience where we be like, man, I'm leaving. I got to work.
Yeah.
You never leave an audience like that. You leave them to where it's like, man, it's over already, man. I can't wait to come back.
That's right.
And that is 100% true. But you know why they have so many comics? It all goes back to systemic racism because we don't get that many shows. So when you get a show, you got to put everybody on the show because you don't know when the next time it's going to be a show.
And it's also, I think, it's definitely that, but it's also people who come into culture and are not about the culture. I think if you're about the culture, whether you do hip hop or comedy, you want to give a good show.
Yeah.
If you don't care about the culture, you just want to get the turnaround and get the bodies in and out and get the more people buying drinks, and you get the more people that you have on the flyer, the more chance you have for people to show up.
Right.
And with hip hop, I don't know if they do this in comedy.
Bringer shows.
But yeah, with the comedy, with bringer shows, you gotta go out and yell at the people on the street. But for hip hop, they straight up, they cut that out. They just be like, give us a couple $100. You give them a couple $100, you get on that show.
Oh, wow. So they pay to get on.
Yeah, it's pay for play.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
It's investing. It sucks, but it's also investing in yourself because for Bringer Show, my first show ever was at the Comedy Store. I can always say that my first show was at the Comedy Store. Yeah. But it was a Bringer show.
Right.
But you still get to get in audiences. I wouldn't have gotten a Comedy Store that soon if I wasn't like, oh, okay, let me just bring these.
I mean, this different. Yeah. You've done Bringer Show. You've done these shows with Bringer shows as well.
For sure, yeah.
Dave said he's never done that before.
He started at 18, and I mean, I don't know.
It also depends on where you start.
In DC.
He started in DC.
I feel like he started in DC. He probably went to New York next.
Yeah, he went from DC to New York. He started under Marshall Warfield and Wanda Sykes and them.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
a different culture.
They were bringing him into the clubs.
Yeah. That's a different culture that he came up in. Mm-hmm. When you start in LA. Mm-hmm. You know, they just, all right, we can do a room here. We just need butts in the seats.
Mm-hmm. See, for me, I think it's a generational thing too, because I would like the whole, what y'all just said, what I just said about rappers paying to get on shows.
Yeah.
My generation didn't do that. This new generation is doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I would have never considered doing that coming up.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, if you're not bringing me up on my skills, then I don't need to be a part of it.
Right.
But I can't hate on someone 10, 15, 20 years later.
Yeah.
the industry's more oversaturated.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm coming up in New York City too.
Yeah.
It's not like I was coming up in Austin, Texas, which is the last place I saw one of these flyers with 30 rappers on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah.
Those be bringing shows too. I have a homeboy that raps, and it's like the same exact concept. You have to bring, but y'all be having to bring like 50 people to get on stage.
Yeah.
The
Absolutely
hip-hop promoters,
ridiculous.
they don't be fucking around. They be on some other shit. It be some real janky promoters out there. Hip-hop promoters be like niggas trying to launder money. That's really what that shit be.
Bring 100 people.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you get started in the hip-hop promotion game.
I do feel like the hip-hop culture is way more seedy than the comedy culture.
Man, I went to
Everything
Essence
underneath.
Fest. I just performed at Essence Fest, and I hired a driver, and the driver picked me up. You know, I told him I was DJing this club, and I was telling him I want to learn, you know, I'm playing New Orleans. I don't want to be a pretentious East Coaster. I want to learn the local scene. I had done a lot of research on the artists, and I started rallying them, naming artists, local artists. He's like, how you know about all that?
Yeah.
And then he started telling me how he used to manage a lot of these dudes. He was like, yeah, man, you know, I did some time in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, he said, I used to be in the rap game.
Yeah.
And he started showing me pictures of him with all these artists, old school New Orleans artists, and he had the chains and everything. He's like, yeah, I went to jail. And now, you know, I came out, I'm trying to better my life now, but now he's driving me around.
Right.
When he used to manage these artists.
Wow.
And he's telling me about his son. We started talking about our kids.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned, yeah, my son is in jail right now.
Wow.
You know, I'm like, damn, this shit is a real cycle
Yeah.
out here. But he was in the, you know, promotion game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was trying to get out the streets.
It was because I feel like, you know, hip hop is rooted in the streets.
It's a hustle.
So with comedy, it's not that.
There
It's
are
bird.
some hustlers, some hood people in comedy, and you just be like, dude, this is just comedy.
TK
Relax.
Kirkland.
Oh yeah, TK.
He started everything. He was at every event.
Oh yeah, he started this gangster.
He started this gangster.
Yeah, there's some real street dudes in comedy.
Scruncho, shout out
Scruncho.
Scruncho.
For sure.
Scruncho, that's my nigga though.
For sure.
Reggie.
Yeah. Reggie Carroll. Real street dudes was like,
Yo, Reggie,
yeah.
and I told him I wanted to do comedy. He sat with me for hours just writing out all fundamentals of comedy. I fuck with Reggie hard.
Reggie, man,
That's
I
my
rock with
dude.
Reggie, man. He's always shown me love, man.
Yeah.
Reggie and Scruncho for sure.
Yeah, both of them.
Absolutely.
So you have 2.5 million followers on Instagram. You mentioned how you got started in 2008 and you didn't really stop until the pandemic. But I imagine that when the pandemic happened, you and a lot of the comedians you were working with, you know, got online and started really like blowing up. You know what I'm saying? You on the internet talking about what in the hemoglobins, the haberdasheries, and all types of, you know what I'm saying? How does comedy on social media for you differ from comedy on stage in the flesh?
For me, it's easier online. It's way easier to be funnier online than on stage because I can just talk about literally whatever. Even though technically I do that on stage a lot too, but anything can go viral on the internet. It doesn't even have to be top tier, well thought out, handcrafted comedy. It can just be like, my favorite cereal is Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and here's why. And then that could get a million views because everybody's in there debating.
Right.
I say Raisin Bran Crunch, and then everybody's putting their 2 cents in.
Honey bunches of
So
boots.
there's a lane for everything on social media. So it's very easy for me to be like voiceovers now. My voiceovers are so easy for me to make.
You talking about the animal ones?
Yes. It's just I can just
My
look
daughter
at the
here,
video.
she's a fan of your. My daughter Deani is a huge fan. She's like, that voice. I know that voice from.
Yeah. I didn't even know that was your daughter, but yeah. It's very easy for me to do a voiceover, but it's like comedically it's low hanging fruit for me. But I'm always thinking about what's my next set gonna be like when I go on tour. I'm always like, what's my next body of work on tour or for a comedy special or for that. The social media stuff, honestly, is for me to get you to come see me live. That's the whole end game for me.
You do a good job of parlaying that.
And so, you know, you got a whole bunch of old school comedians that are like, I'm not going to do that social media stuff. You come see me. I'm a real comedian. You come see me live. How they going to know that you coming to a city? So I was able to realize that, okay, because I paid to showcase for, this is pay to play right here. I paid not to get on stage, but there's a comedy chain called the Funny Bone Comedy Clubs. They're all throughout the country, mainly in the Midwest and East Coast. And the main hub is in Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, yep. I've been to that one.
And Dave Stroop was like, he would have comedians showcase for him to see if he can, then plug you in the rotation of his club. So I went out there, I paid for my own hotel, paid for my own travel. It was like, let me showcase so I can get, spots, headline gigs or whatever. So after I showcased, he was like, first of all, you're too strong to be a feature act. But as a headliner, I'm looking for people that can draw. And at that time, my followers were way less than they are now. He was just like, and I got it. I was like, if I'm not putting butts in the seats, then it's not going to make a whole lot of sense. So I was like, all right, I need to step up my social media visibility so then I could, get butts in the seats. And so for me, the end game is always, because I'm going to do stand-up until I perish. So even if I do movie roles or get a TV show, those always dry up. Every film, movie career dries up.
Yeah.
And I feel like with stand-up, even if those roles dry up, I can still fill a comedy club for a weekend based on the old movies of the old. That's the dude from such and which. We coming to see him.
I saw Jeff Ross bring Gilbert Gottfried out, rest in peace, on his set. And this man did one joke. And brought the house down. Yeah. And none of that other stuff mattered. The Aladdin, the Aflac Duck, none of that mattered.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The stand-up mattered.
Right.
At the end.
And when you do bring those people out and they come see you live, because there's no substitute for live entertainment. And that's one thing I like to focus on too, is like, regardless of how many streaming apps come out, you can watch whatever on streaming. You're going to have to take your girl out. You can't just be in the house all the time looking at the laptop
Netflix
or the flat screen. She's going to be like, let's go out. It gets old.
Right.
So stand-up comedy is live entertainment, top-tier live entertainment. It's a good night out. You're having a good time. And there's no substitute for that, ever.
Did you used to watch Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Yeah.
That's what those voiceovers remind me of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Patrick McLeod. Is that his name?
Patrick Cloud, yeah.
Patrick Cloud.
Yeah.
I like his animal shit.
Love it. Love his stuff, man.
Pat Geo shit.
Yeah. Love it.
You with the animals, you talk in your special about getting over the fear of spiders.
Right.
By studying spiders.
Absolutely.
And getting over fears by studying is very important. My aunt used to say fear stands for fuck everything and run.
Yeah.
And the way that you get over that is you look it straight in all 8 of its eyes. Right.
Yep.
So did you already know a lot about the animal kingdom before you started doing these videos?
Absolutely.
So you were just like into that shit. Like,
I've been into animals since I was a kid, since before I could even.
Because you know a lot. It's like your knowledge is there. That's what kind of makes it funny,
right? Because
you drop knowledge while doing the voiceovers.
Yeah, because I have a genuine interest in the animals. Like, for me, we always had pets. We always had pets. You can see a picture of me and my brothers. I'm in a diaper on the floor. A dog is literally standing over me while I'm on the floor in a diaper. So we always had animals in the house. Cats, dogs, ferrets, snakes, hamsters, parrot, we had it. In black neighborhoods, like in the south side of Chicago.
Me too, I had all that too.
Yeah. So
I grew up in Brooklyn. I had all that.
Wild Kingdom.
Yeah.
When you live with creatures, when you live with animals, I'm naturally going to be like, what are you thinking?
Right.
Why do you do the things that you do? Why are you doing this? How can a parrot talk? So I'm just always fascinated by the animal kingdom. And so it was a real genuine interest in animals. To this day, I'm just like, man, when I see an animal, I'm like, man, look at, I'm always like, pointing out the animal, even down to the dogs.
Man, I just came back from Zanzibar in South Africa.
Oh, man.
Have you been to the motherland yet?
No.
You got to go.
Yeah.
Got to go on the real safari. I didn't go on the real safari. I went on the tourist safari.
Okay.
When they got the trained animals that grew up on the thing, and they just they never hunted in their life.
Right.
You got but for
you
somebody like you,
hunting animals? Why?
It's terrible. I know it was terrible. We just needed the shots.
No, the shots you're shooting. What I'm saying is, why would you want to be around the wild ones?
because
that's what I want.
Yeah, I've done that in Tanzania.
Yeah. You did that?
I went to the Serengeti, and I went with Cameron Diaz and Jimmy Fallon, Justin Timberlake.
Wow.
For an MTV trip.
You dropped some names.
Man,
that's right here.
Big
drops.
Thank
you. And we tracked a lion in the Serengeti, and we had the lion was sick, and we had to give it medicine, and we had to name the lion, and we named it Diani, which is my daughter's name.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so there's a
lion or a
Diani's still alive?
Kept lion.
Yeah,
Diani is out here.
Yep.
In the Serengeti.
In the
That's
Serengeti.
dope.
This sound, this Cram sound.
Oh yeah.
Where did you come up with this sound?
That was random. A lot of the stuff I do is just randomly comes to me. Like the first video I ever did Cram on, there was this little goat with he had some good horns. And he kept ramming somebody's bicycle.
The bike.
He was just like, yeah. And I was just like, what's the sound
You want to know why he had
making?
beef? You had a whole backstory about why he had problems
focused. He was just
bikes.
like, nah, man, bikes. I got beef with him. And so I needed a sound for every time he hit that bike.
Right.
And that it just came from there. And I'm a big fan of the way my comedic mind works. I'm a fan of themes. Ongoing themes. So if I introduce it, I'm bringing it back. Because I'm a fan. I've been a stand-up comedian that loves callbacks.
Callback, right.
And so everything that I bring to the table comedically, I want to call it back in future. That's why all the animals that I do, they sing the same song, they say the same things. So then it becomes same voices, same like Gerald the gorilla. He's always saying, "I'm the one." That's his whole vibe. That's why he's beating his chest.
Right.
I'm the one.
Right.
I'm the one that's out here doing these things. And so when I do other gorilla video, it doesn't have to be that same gorilla. I can bring Gerald back into different gorillas, and it becomes an inside joke to the people that appreciate it. And I like that. I like that you can be like, I'm the one, and I know what you're talking about. And I always feel bad for fans of mine because if they try to describe to somebody what I do, it makes no sense. Oh, this the dude, the Cram, Kirkpatrick, haberdasheries and hemoglobin. And I see people standing there like, what are you saying right now? It makes no sense if you don't know who I am.
Without context.
And I feel bad. I'll be like, I'm sorry, y'all, but they be loving it.
So is your DM and your inbox constantly filled with videos of animals doing stupid shit?
Absolutely.
And people be like, you have to speak on this?
Absolutely. Okay. Ghostface Killer. Ghostface Killer. Me and Sabrina laugh about this all the time. He sends me videos every day, all day. He ignores me when I be talking to him. I be like, you good, bro? He be like, man, this video right here.
I need a voiceover.
Man, I was like, how was the show, man? Man, this. And I just be like, man, come on, man. But it's constant. If it's a viral video that's already viral, hundreds of people will send me the same video every single day. Yeah, for sure.
Like, you need to work on this one.
Yeah. Tell me, you got to do this one.
Yeah.
Man, Tony, I sent you a video to your text message, and it still hasn't been made. I don't know what's going on. And then I saw him in person. I was like, Tony, you didn't get my text message? He was like, no, look,
did.
There's a guy named That Danish Guy on TikTok, and he does these videos where he finds, like, really, really outlandishly, cartoonishly racist people.
Yeah.
And he exposes them. And he does deep dives on them.
Right.
And so I sent him a video of one guy who kept calling me the N-word over and over again. He's like, I'm on it.
Yeah.
And he did the video. And then he posted it. And then I put it on my TikTok, and TikTok took it off.
Wow.
Because I used the N-word in the video.
But his stayed.
His stayed. And the guy who wrote the N-word stayed on Instagram. But my video calling him out got pulled down.
Wow. I don't like the community guidelines. Community guidelines. I hate the community guidelines on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, because it's never matching up.
That's the issue. I actually like the community guidelines. I actually think that on paper, all of them across the board, I agree completely with all of them. I'm like, these are good rules for society.
Yeah.
They need to be fair.
But they don't apply them properly.
They don't.
They apply them disproportionately.
And they don't know the context.
They never know context.
They come up in the comment section and ding you for, saying a joke or whatever, and they're not really reading the context. You stupid.
Right.
As a compliment, you're like,
that happened to me. I got freaking blocked.
You can't call people stupid. And it's just like,
hey, here's to let y'all know. Because I know, these racist trolls, they report every single thing I write.
Yeah.
Like
you be out here in the
every
trenches,
single
man.
thing I write, they report. So I'm giving y'all notes.
Yeah.
You can't call people trash on Instagram.
Man.
Because I called people trash for 3 years, and someone figured it out, and they started just flagging every time I called people trash. And then one day I was just shadow banned for like 3 months, just because I called so many people trash.
Right? Because you be fighting out here, man.
Hey, man,
you be fisticuffs McGee on social media.
Fisticuffs. Your fisticuffs have merged over into my DMs. Somebody sent me a video or something you said, and it said, lesbians shouldn't raise children. I'm like, what?
Yo, my baby mom.
Does this have to do with Talib and whatever he was talking about? So I usually hate people that like cats. Well, I hate them. I usually don't trust people that like cats because they're creepy. Cats are creepy. And actually, I was looking for what video I sent you that you never did a voiceover for, and it was a creepy cat video. But when did your love of cats start? How many cats do y'all have?
2.
Oh, okay. I thought you had more than that.
Ain't nothing crazy.
That's fine. It's one for each. That's all right. I approve.
First of all, why do you...
Cats are creepy. They stare at you, and they stare into you and your soul.
Because they in on it.
And then they're like, it's just, and then they be, they live outside, and they just...
They look outside? What?
I just don't like it. And there's a cat that lives on my car, and I freaking hate it. I don't know why she still lives there. I asked her to leave multiple times.
Lives on your car?
Yes.
But you like dogs.
I'm a dog person.
Here's why I'm going to flag you. Dogs stare just as much as cats do.
But dogs still lovingly.
But they do. Yeah, they do have different
Cats
eyeballs when they look at you.
Dogs be like...
But they do, for me, I don't like to be hovered over or stared at too much. And sometimes dogs are too much. They be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And my cat, Midnight, the black one, he stares...
into your soul.
He stares, like he has a face that's just intense. Like he be like... And so he's always watching me. Everything I do in the house, he like, what you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Dapper, though, his eyes are different.
They climb
so every
all
cat
over
has
stuff.
different eyeballs. And a lot of cats, they don't really stare at you that much. They're kind of shy and standoffish, but I think you got it ingrained in yourself to not like cats.
No. They're
You got a vendetta.
I think what you said about dogs, like you said, dog owners can't leave the crib. They can't go on vacation.
Right.
The cats are more like having a roommate. That resonated with me.
Right, yeah. Because it's like, you know, as long as the litter box is good, you put some food in the dish, you can leave for a while. You can leave for a couple days,
and cats
honestly.
stink.
No.
Their litter stinks.
Dogs stink too, though.
The poop in the litter box looks gross. You gotta scoop it out.
Your poop stinks.
But my poop goes down the toilet. And my poop doesn't stink, by the way.
Everybody.
What does it smell like?
It smells like roses.
Nobody's exempt. It smells like sage. Right. Nobody's exempt.
Outkast made a song about your poop.
Talib, I am offended.
And that's the only thing. Like the litter box being in the house does suck, but you know, dogs be out here poop. You got to pick it up by hand.
No, you don't have to.
But you do have to.
You don't
unless you're gonna be a piece of shit ass dog owner.
Everywhere.
I feel like cats and dogs. Okay, I don't like. I'll be honest with you. I'm not into having cats or dogs live with me. That's just not my thing. But I feel like people who do smell like they pets and their houses smell like them, that's just dirty people.
No, it's not dirty people. Your house can smell like dog and you not be dirty.
Oh, no.
But I will say, I went on a date with this girl. I went to her house afterwards. She had a great job. She was fun, you know, and her house smelled like dog and her dog was ugly and I could not do another date.
So you ghosted her?
She earned that ghost.
She had an ugly dog and her house stink.
I feel you on the house stinking though.
You gotta have either a cute dog with a stinky house or
hold on.
Ugly
So
dog
I just
in
want
a
to be
smelly
clear.
good house.
You're okay with a stinky house?
No, not
as long
a
as a
stinky
cute dog
house.
lives in it?
I'm okay. No. I'm okay if your house smells like dog if your dog is cute.
That's what I just said.
No, a stinky house and a dog smelling house are two different things.
So wait a minute. You was good with the house smelling like dog.
I wasn't good with the house smelling like dog. But when I saw the ugly dog, it made it worse. Like,
if the dog was cute, you would have been like,
okay,
you would have put up with the smell.
Maybe we could get some air freshener, but it was too many things at once.
You know what? That was some ratchet pussy.
Ugly.
That was some ratchet pussy.
Did you smash?
I didn't have any of it.
It was ratchet pussy.
I didn't have any of it.
She never even gave it a chance.
She said Juicy J's favorite lyric that she like is...
You say no to ratchet pussy, Juicy J can't.
She can't say no to the ratchet pussy.
My part
She's like, it smell like dog in here. But...
That's not ratchet. Ratchet women are very bougie. They don't have dog-smelling houses. Just putting that out there.
I will say that about ratchet women and hood chicks. They keep the house up.
They smell good.
They will be like, look, I live in the hood. It look like shit outside, but inside, immaculate.
Yeah, but they be having them little ass dogs.
I'm not a fan of little dogs.
Me right now because I don't know what's going on.
I'm not a fan of little dogs. I'll say that. I'm a big, I'm an animal person, but little dogs annoy me if they're too barky.
Right, little
that
dogs.
was my doggy. Rest
Little
in peace,
dogs.
Bentley.
We made those, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're man-made.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the breeds that you see, and Sabrina's a dog expert. All the breeds that you see, because she'll tell you down to the breed. Oh, this breed has breathing problems, and this, that, and the third. When I look at these little dogs, I'm just like, and they bark a lot, and it's loud, and it's high pitched, and it just be like, hey,
That was my dog, exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Hush. You could be little, but if you chilling and little, cool.
See?
But if you chatty as a dog, shut your ass up.
At least they cute though. Them little dogs be cute.
Your joke about the dogs be just talking all the time is hilarious too.
They be outside talking.
They be talking.
Hey, 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 come on, all night. And then the other one down the street, come on, man, hey, come on, all night. All it takes is one.
Right.
Hey, come on. You got 7 dogs in the community all talking about the same person walking down the street. Hey, he's headed your way. Who's headed my way? And then they're talking. Oh, this guy right here, I don't like his face. I don't like his face either. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And then the third dog, who y'all talking about? He's headed your way. Oh, I'm waiting on him. I think he turned the corner, y'all. Is he there? Is he there? You don't get none of that with cats. You hear them fighting in the alley every now and then. Every now and then you hear some.
And you know what else I say?
And that's
cat
it.
flea will attack you as you're walking by it. It's drive-by flea attacks. Dog keeps them fleas to themselves. That's all I'm saying.
See,
No, fleas are fleas.
No,
Fleas
cat
are
fleas are a
gonna
little bit
flee.
fleer.
Fleas are going to do what fleas do, cat or dog.
No, the cat fleas are a little bit more disrespectful.
No. See, you just got a vendetta.
yeah.
Jasmine is petty.
Yeah.
We know this. And she got
know
a
this.
petty vendetta against cats.
So now you're a cat guy. You also are into comic books.
Yes.
You're also into comic book movies.
Yes.
You reviewed Batman, the Batman.
Be Batman, yeah.
And you said he's more like Bat Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Robert Pattinson.
now
Robert Pattinson is the guy.
he's a guy.
He look young, man.
I hung out with Robert Pattinson at the comedy store.
Oh, the comedy store.
He
wow.
was in that back room,
Uh-huh.
and he was drunk.
Oh,
and I was
wow.
drunk too, so I'm not judging him.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were all
Y'all
drunk.
were drunk together.
Who's not drunk in the back room?
No, it was
Drunk
one
with
of
Batman.
these- yeah.
Let's keep that
But
going.
it hit me while I was hanging out with him
Uh-huh.
because the movie wasn't out yet. And this
Okay.
was like during the pandemic. And they had put pause on that movie for a
Right,
second.
for sure.
And I'm drinking with him. He was talking. I'm like, you're Batman.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. And I was like, and the whole way he was acting, I'm like, oh, you're Bruce Wayne right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got to meet Bruce Wayne.
Right.
I didn't meet Batman.
Because he wasn't wearing his cape and his mask.
Because Bruce Wayne is his true costume.
Right. He's drunk
Batman
at the
is
club.
him.
You know
Bruce
what I'm
Wayne
saying?
is the costume.
We drunk at the club.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Doing
Right.
drunk guy stuff. But yeah, man, cat guy versus bat guy
Yeah.
could be like a thing for you, like an animated short.
That would be dope. One of my dreams is to do voiceover work,
Mm-hmm.
like to just be mad voiceover.
You're doing that
to be-
already.
Like, but I'm talking about like for Pixar, DC animated film.
Yeah.
Do you
I wanna
like
be
the
Keith
DC
David out
animated
here.
joints? They got
DC
the new-
animated joints are some of the best animated. That's outside of Batman. That's DC's bread and
Did
butter.
you see this? The Super Sons,
No, I didn't see that one.
where Robin and Superman's son
No, I didn't see that.
have to fight. Did you see? They have a new one to Beware Green Lantern.
Green Lantern. I got to watch
The
that
new
one too.
Green Lantern.
With Jon
But the
Stewart.
best one I saw is there's one called there's one Red Sun where Superman lands in Russia instead, and
Oh,
Batman
yeah.
is a terrorist.
Yeah.
But there's one called Injustice. Have you seen Injustice?
Yes. Yeah.
That shit's crazy. You seen that
Yeah.
shit?
How do we always get here?
That's because that's what it said.
Yeah, man. Injustice, where Superman decides the Joker kills Lois
Yeah.
Lane.
Yep.
And Superman decides, you know what? Fuck all these humans. Fuck your laws. Fuck your government.
Yeah.
I'm in charge now.
That's the blueprint of the Injustice game too. Is that little storyline right there? And Superman is always an interesting character because when they make him really human, and if Superman was even slightly corrupt, what can we do about it? That's why I love the show The Boys. Because it puts in the mindset, if Superman was a piece of shit, this is what we would have to deal with. Thank God
he's not.
Clark Kent, Kal-El is a decent person. Because any one false snap and he could just be like, you know what? I'm running this shit.
Right.
What y'all don't have any weapons that can take me out.
Right.
When we got kryptonite, I will destroy you and the kryptonite. I'll find it.
Right.
I can hear what you're saying. I can hear what you're planning. I'll be there in 2 seconds.
I'm in
Russia. I know. I'm in South America. I'll be there in 2 seconds. Superman is overpowered.
Right.
That's one of the nicks I have against DC. They make everybody too much.
Right.
Flash is too fast. Superman can do too much shit.
Right.
So whenever you pit them against Marvel characters, it's always going to be DC because everybody's overpowered.
Right. Like Shazam.
Shazam.
He's just as powerful as Superman. Right?
Man, and it's just like, and then they're inconsistent with the lore because they be like, all right, one of Superman's weaknesses is magic, but he can beat Shazam, who's magic. Like I thought one of his weaknesses was magic.
Right.
Now he can beat Shazam, so it's like y'all just want to make Superman the end all be all, then do it. But I really liked. I think it was. I don't know if it was Flashpoint or whatever.
The cartoon.
The animated joint.
Yeah,
where was that the one where Superman wasn't, they kept him away from the sun?
Yeah.
So they had him locked up, and then when they went in there, he was all skinny and frail.
Yeah.
And then, he had a big head, but he was just he was flimsy because he had no sun. And then they let him out. I was like, yo, this is dope. DC's animated joints are top tier.
Yeah, I agree.
They just can't, they hit and miss on the theatrical.
I agree.
At some point, I'm going to have to watch this stuff because it comes up every show.
Get in on it, man.
It's a lot, though. It's a lot.
Get in on it.
Time consuming.
It's a good time.
I'm in on The Boys.
The Boys is
the
great.
shit.
I'm in on The Boys.
The Boys gets an emotional rise out of me. Homelander is such a good villain, man. I'm talking to the screen like, ooh, I want him got. And
I feel like, so you said I'd be fighting on social media.
Yeah.
The Boys leans into the language of social media.
Yeah.
So it's like the stuff that they saying on The Boys, I'm like, I've seen this in the comment section.
Right.
So it's like when Stormfront first showed up, I was very clear. And I didn't read the graphic novel. My friends who read the graphic novel, they knew.
Right.
But I was very clear. I'm like, that's a Nazi.
Yeah.
They'd be like, Kweli calls everybody Nazis. I'm like, no, Stormfront is a Nazi.
The guy
They're like, no, he calls everybody Nazis.
Right.
And then
Cut two,
she a fucking Nazi.
Right.
I'm like, yo.
Yo, we're on villains. I just want to say, the villain cutting the phone line, fucking hilarious.
Travis Santiago.
Oh my God, he's absolutely out of control.
Now, you and I also have the Transformers movie in common.
Yeah.
I remember in 1984 seeing that movie, and it was the first, you talked about anime, and it was the first, really, probably my first anime movie, probably the first movie I saw with adult themes.
Right.
We talk about watching Transformers and G.I. Joe back to back. And how nobody died. And remember G.I. Joe, they used to shoot the planes down and they would parachute.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
They parachute game was crazy.
It would be an instant explosion of a whole aircraft.
Right.
You see the parachute just come out. I'm like, how? How did you?
The fact that G.I. Joe was like war profiteering propaganda from the 60s that they revamped because they had the big doofy G.I. Joe dolls.
Huge,
and then Star Wars came with the action figure.
Right.
And G.I. Joe was like, oh man, so that's what they made that cartoon. Hasbro made that cartoon to try to sell this war stuff to us.
Yeah.
But they couldn't. They're selling us war, but we're still kids.
Right.
So we need to parachute. But that Transformers movie, I think Spike was swearing in that movie.
Oh yeah, he said shit.
He said shit.
Yeah, he was like, oh shit.
Okay, so now on the DVD and on iTunes, when you watch it, he don't say shit.
Right, they took it out.
Okay, I thought I was.
They took it out.
I'm glad someone was there in 1984.
Yeah,
because I saw that.
But initially, he said shit because I remember an article about it in the Chicago Sun-Times. Because I didn't see it in theaters. I had to wait till it came out on video. And so I read that article. I'm like, yo, they cussing? Like, Mom, we got to go see this.
Oh, my goodness.
I remember the 1984. I was like, my parents was like,
yeah. He said, oh, shit.
That sounds like Coco.
And it was like, and this was a character that was on the regular series. So it was like, yo. And then they killed everybody in the first 10 minutes. Man.
So it was traumatizing to me. And then they introduced us to a whole bunch of Transformers
Right.
that they didn't put on sale in the States.
Yep.
So it's like, I can't even buy these niggas.
I was devastated by Optimus Prime. Here's what saved
That
me.
didn't really
You got
sound-
the touch.
Oh man, the soundtrack is classic, and to this day, it's the best Transformers movie to ever be created. To
Bumblebee
this day.
a second.
Bumblebee a second
Yeah.
because they went back to the original source
right.
material. And look, that Transformers animated movie, I saw it when it was on video. The only reason I didn't cry right then and there is because we were at my brother's girlfriend's house at the time. And she had younger sisters, and they were there. So we were all watching it together, and I'm sitting there. And I'm all in. I'm sitting closest to the TV. I'm like, and they back there doing whatever, I'm talking, whatever. And I'm glued in. But I know there's girls there my age, and I see Optimus Prime, and I knew he was dying because I was watching the regular series, and they addressed it already.
That's right, because they jumped into the plot.
Right.
Wow.
So I was like, Optimus dies. But to see him actually turn black and turn his head, I was like... and you know when you get emotional and the tears are welling up, you know when you blink, that's when they roll. So I was like, all right, if I blink, they gonna see the tears.
They gonna see him crying over this cartoon robot.
My eyes was as dry as toothpaste. I kept my eyes open for 25 minutes. I was
Dry
like,
as toothpaste.
that's the only reason I didn't shed tears when he passed away.
I'm glad I wasn't the only person traumatized by this movie.
Oh man, come on, man. They did us dirty. Oh, so they can sell new toys, man.
Right, the new joints.
I hate Hot Rod to this day.
Hot Rod was a whack little toy.
He just came in.
It was
No,
like a
you don't,
futuristic
Megatron. Like, hush.
Car that didn't make no sense.
Nah.
It was like orange and
They
yellow.
forced them on us. They was like, all right, we need a new Optimus Prime. Ultra Magnus looks like Prime.
Right.
But they were like, that's too close to Prime. Let's get a sleek, he's got a trailer.
Right,
but
he was a bad boy.
He's a racer.
He was a lovable scamp.
Yeah. He's voiced by Judd Nelson, guys.
He's a lovable scamp.
Yeah, Like, all right, man, come on, man. They did us dirty.
They did.
I want to interview you, man.
Hey, let's do it.
So, I'm a fan.
Okay.
I've been a fan for a long time. I know about you was with Mood before you linked up. I had High Tech on my podcast, Verbal Cardio.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he came to my podcast. I met him in person. He came to see me when I was in Cincinnati performing at the Liberty Township. So I came into you because of the Black Star album. So I was like, man, these cats is dope. It was something about that album that really resonated with me. And the dynamic between you and Mos was super dope. And I thought Mos was an actor who started rapping.
Right.
And so I was just like, yo, this is crazy. So I got the Black Star album, and I was just like, man, this is everything I needed in life. And Respiration is one of the best. That's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Thank you, brother.
It's you two in common. The video is perfect.
Thank you.
Black and white, cold outside.
Coldest day of the year.
Man, this is everything.
And as a Chicago dude, you're going to appreciate that Common had on a green fur coat that day because he didn't know that the video was going to be in black and white.
See, I didn't
He
know
was
that.
representing for the
Because
city.
he ended up in like camouflage.
He had a camouflage outfit on the steps, but when he's walking to Wall Street, he had the fur.
Never knew it was green.
Yeah.
He was like black and white.
Chicago shit.
Man. So I kept up with you and Mos, Yasin, and then, y'all on Ruckus Records, so it was just like everybody that was dropping, I was all in sound bombing. And then, sorry, I'm just getting my fandom off on you.
I love it.
Here. So everything that Ruckus was putting out, I was all in. Black on Both Sides comes out, couldn't stop playing it. I was like, man, this is the greatest. And then Pharoah Monch drops his album. Then you and High Tech come with Train of Thought. And in my opinion, that's probably the best. It's one of my favorite albums, but I think it's one of the best 20-track albums ever constructed.
I like that you qualified it like that.
Because once anybody puts 20 tracks on the album, it's got to be some skips.
Yeah.
It's got to be Skippy Peanut
It's a
Butter.
bold choice.
20
tracks?
Yeah, it's a
You
bold
got
choice.
to, it's
Skippy
got to be
peanut
some
butter is what
skips.
I'm stuck at.
Train of Thought has 0 skips.
I love it.
20 tracks deep. Dave Chappelle was on there imitating Rick James and Nelson Mandela. I didn't know that was Dave. I thought, man, he got Mandela on the album. Rick James. I thought it was really them.
Right.
And so I was just
We
like,
did have Gil Scott-Heron and
He
Lennox
was there.
Lewis. They were real.
They were real.
Yeah, I was mixing the real with the
Yeah.
impersonations.
And it was just like, yo, this. And I watched the Blast video on repeat in the Department of Black Programs in New Mexico State for months.
Las Cruces.
Man, I was in Las Cruces. Yo, look at the Blast video. I was showing everybody that came in there. The Blast, man, they in the rain, you know what I'm saying?
Man, shout out to Little X.
Man. So everything y'all were doing, I was in on. Then when you came after that with Quality, I was just like, man, this album is fire, dog.
Wow.
Fire. So I was just like, so I kept up with everything y'all were doing.
You guys need to hire this guy.
Yeah.
I said, did I not say that in the group chat?
I'm a fan, you know what I'm saying? And so I just kept up. Like, you know, I consider myself a good fan.
I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
So to be sitting here with you on this show is just like, man.
But I appreciate your love for hip hop because you don't just show love to me and Black Star, but you also publicly and often show love to the Roots and show love to De La Soul. And these are the groups that not only were my favorite groups growing up, but the groups that became my family when I came in this business. So I really feel in touch with you because of these groups that you love so much.
Oh, yeah, because De La Soul's relationship goes beyond music.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They have been together since 88, 87, 88 as a group. No solo projects.
No arguments
beef,
that we know about.
No public arguments, no public beefs. They are still together.
Amen.
And I can't think of another group that has gone that long with
man.
no replacing members, none of that.
Shout out to the almighty De La Soul.
Man, they are just
So let's
love
speak
De La Soul.
to your love of hip hop. BT Kingsley's show, Top 5, he did for his birthday.
Yeah. Shout out to BT Kingsley. You know
That's when I was writing in the group chat. I was like, you know what, Talib? I said, I don't know if you know Tony Baker, but he is the only person that I feel like could come close to trivia of random knower of just information.
Yeah, he just got me on Warren G, this DJ song. He was like, who is OOGLB?
OOGLB, you know what I'm saying? With my little G, Warren G. In the video.
Right.
He looked like he was about that life. So I wonder if he's still alive.
So I wanted you on the show. They were giving you albums.
Yeah.
And you were giving the dates of the albums. So I want to test you on a couple. Are you good with that?
Hopefully it's older stuff because the new stuff I'll be falling by the wayside.
And
what date did Drake and Future's classic?
Oh, I'm already.
What about Drake and 21 Savage? Okay, so
that just came out.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So Fat Boys.
Okay. I'm gonna be shaky with this because you might have went beyond.
You said you wanted old. I can go back up if you want.
Well, it's got like 90s and up is when I became my own person in hip hop.
Fat Boys that's a deep cut.
I couldn't.
No, that's a deep cut.
You can ask me the Fat Boys joint. I know Disorderly's grossed about $9-10 million at the box office
in '87.
So what about Dark and Hell is Hot?
Okay, what about it? What you want to know?
Give me my stats. When did it come out?
It's Dark as Hell is Hot. That's DMX's debut album. Opening weekend, it sold 200 and something thousand copies. It ended up becoming his best-selling album up until, and then there was X. I think right now, the numbers always change with album sales now because of streaming. So I don't know what the RIAA certifies is Dark and Hell is Hot.
Now that album
it might
came
be like
out,
4 million.
The year that album came out, DMX dropped 2 albums that year.
He did. The second album, Flesh of My Flesh, that debuted over 600,000 copies sold first week. And so he had 2 number 1 albums in the same year. That one didn't outsell Is Dark as Hell is Hot in its totality, but it had a bigger opening weekend.
All right, and let's do Talib Kweli and High Tech Train of Thought.
Okay. That's trickier. The opening week is trickier for Train of Thought.
I don't know what the opening week would be for that.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to remember where they debuted on the Billboard charts.
I feel like we were in the top 30.
Top 30.
Yeah, the first week.
And that album didn't go gold.
It went gold eventually.
Eventually, it took a while.
I think it went gold a couple years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it did go gold?
Yeah, at some point.
It deserved to be platinum.
Wait, did he know the release date on Train of Thought?
Yeah, he had already said the release date.
I don't know the release. Okay,
it's
the
year
release
2000.
date. It came out in 2000, late 2000, if I'm not mistaken. It came out. Wait a minute. No, it didn't come out this same day, but maybe. So that release day. I don't know if it's the same day. Was it the same day that Jay-Z dropped Hard Knock Life?
That's Black Star.
That's Black Star.
That's Black Star.
Black
okay.
Star, yeah.
Hard Knock Life,
Tribe Called Quest,
Outkast,
Brand Nubian,
and all in the same day.
and Lauryn Hill I believe in the States released that day. I think Miseducation was released internationally in August of that year.
Oh, wow.
But I think on that September 28th, it was released in the States.
Lauryn Hill's debut album, she broke a record with her opening week on the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. This is before it became a behemoth, on the charts.
That same show, and if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine, was also Serene's year anniversary of his death, which I have to commend you on working that show. I was like, I don't know how you did it. You're one of the strongest men.
Right.
So can we talk about your grieving process, because you had to grieve in public.
Right.
And then as comedians, we don't really get days off. You kind of have to keep going.
Right.
And so can you talk us through that process, and did it help that you were working, or how did you feel?
For me, for those that don't know, my son passed away in a car accident August 3rd, 2021. He was 21 years old. His friends Natalie and Jaden also passed in a crash. They were hit by these guys were racing in Burbank, and they hit my sons in them car, and so they died on impact. So when that happened, certain comedians, they found out and they posted about it and stuff like that, and then I released the statement that it happened, and then I pretty much mourned publicly. I would still do lives, and I would still, tell the people what was going on. And, I mourned in real time, and I was cracking jokes immediately. Like the day that it happened, I had some jokes, and, Sabrina was there at ground zero when I got the call. And that's another thing I want to say to you about cats. They do care. Because when I got the news about Serene and I was crying my eyes out, the cats were looking at me differently. They were like, Midnight was trying to get close to me for some reason. Like, he busted up in the room aggressively because they're not allowed in the bedroom. And he was just in my face, and Dapper was just like eye contact city. So I was like, they be knowing. They be feeling stuff. So with my grieving process, for me, I love doing stand-up comedy. So for me, it's a form of therapy that helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
We lost Serene August 3rd. I was back on the road August 25th in Atlanta. I did the Atlanta Comedy Theater. That was my first gig on the road.
Gary?
Yeah.
It is.
So I was nervous because, the audience was mourning with me in real time. So I didn't know if they were going to laugh at all. So it was a scary time, but I needed that outlet to help me process, all of this. And so you find you don't know how you'll react until it happens, unfortunately. Because I used to think man, you see parents that have lost their kids to police violence or gang violence, and they be on the news and they be talking and forming complete sentences and saying stuff to the press. I'm like, how are they able to talk when they just lost their child? And then when I get put in that situation, I'm sitting here talking, forming complete sentences, laughing. And I'm just like, I never would have thought I'd be able to even function losing my son like that. So it just taught me a lot. And it taught me how to be there for people when they go through something now. Being there in real time at ground zero, seeing how people show up or disappear. You see both sides of that. Like, oh, you disappeared. And, oh, you vanished. Like, my dad and my oldest brother disappeared. If they watch this interview, they're going to be like, well, we were just giving you the space. And I told y'all, I was like, I don't need y'all to give me space. I just need y'all to,
Be,
just text me. Just say, hey, Tone, what you doing? Nothing. And so, and then finding out how my mom and my other brother handled it and came out here and showed up. A lot of people overthink grief.
Okay.
They overthink okay, they just lost somebody. I got to say something deep. I got to say something hard hitting. I got to come with the, it's God's plan. Maybe this is you don't have to do all that. Just be around. Just reach out. What's going on? How you feeling? And so I feel like when people vanish, they do care about you. They just don't know what to say. Yeah. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to, like Jasmine, for example, when we were at Teddy Ray's memorial at the Ha-Ha, shout out to Teddy Ray who passed recently. I was crying at the thing. She just hugged me. There was we didn't have to have a discussion. We didn't have to, you know what I'm saying, life is about, hanging in there. Right. It was none of that. It was just like, I didn't even know who was hugging me at one point because I was crying like this. So I just felt somebody hugging me. And then another person, it was her and Keitra, holding me. So I didn't know it was them until I came out of the wave of emotion. I was just like, oh, man, what's up, y'all? But just those silent moments of just like compassion go a long way. So if you ever, you have a friend or family member that lost somebody super close, you don't have to overthink the support.
Yes.
You can just show up and be like, what'd you have for dinner last night? And go from there.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That's such a good perspective.
Yeah.
A lot of people go through that, and, I can't imagine going through that, but I want to thank you for taking us on that journey with you. It was brave. It looked hard to do.
Yeah. It's tough now. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I might make it look easier than it is. And and Sabrina can attest, it's like I have waves of just deep emotion that'll just hit you. And a friend of mine who lost her husband a few years ago, she was just like, let the waves just hit you.
Right.
Don't fight them. Don't deny them. Just let it happen. And then you recover from the wave and then just finish what you got to do.
Well, I got to say, God bless comedy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I didn't have this, if I didn't have something that I love to do to lean on, it would have been a lot harder to deal with this.
I've never been to a comedian's funeral.
Yeah.
But I imagine that a comedian's funeral was a different situation.
Yeah.
In terms of they going to go out there and do a set.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I did a set at my son's funeral. I did a set at a friend of mine, Nick Carthan, who died shortly after Serene passed. I did a set at his funeral. And I didn't look at his much more of a set. It was just I was talking about Nick, and it was funny. We were laughing. I went to David Arnold's memorial, and it was absolutely hilarious. Yeah. Sorry, Jasmine. We've been losing so many in our community. There's just since my son passed, I've been to several funerals, and we lost Kev on stage, brother Jason. So we were at his funeral. And the scariest part for me was talking about Serene on stage with jokes. And I just want to assure the audience that you can laugh with me. You don't have to, that was the scariest part. Before I did that set on Keep Your Distance, that was the nervous I had ever been to do a set. My heart was beating. I was like, I don't know if they're going to laugh because I'm talking about losing my son, the ashes. One of the jokes is, how do you know that's your loved one's remains in the urn?
Right.
How do you know that's your loved one's dust? They can bring you any dust and be like, you're the loved one. And we be like, oh, thank you.
Right.
And we cradling.
Right.
That could be old ribs. We don't know.
And
we don't know.
So when I got my dog cremated, they cremate all the dogs together. So I was like, how the fuck I know who ashes I'm spreading? I'm supposed to have Bentley, not Toto.
You got some cat ashes in there.
I don't got no goddamn cat.
How do you know?
I better not have no goddamn cat ashes in my thing.
I guarantee you there's some cat ashes in there.
You know what, Tony? That was real petty. That was real petty. That's what that was.
I didn't know they did group cremations like that.
We have to talk off camera about that one. I don't know. You might have to get your money back on that one. I feel
my ex paid for it. Shout out Rochelle. So we don't got to worry. It's done.
Okay, well.
There's some cat ashes in there.
It's no cat ashes in there.
And this necklace I wear it's an urn piece. So Serene's ashes are actually in here.
Oh,
that's why I wear it all the time. And I'll be holding it. I had with Ancestry DNA, I found out some interesting family details about myself.
Okay.
And I found out that my father's still alive. And I was like, oh, okay. So we sorted all that out. I met the family members. I didn't meet him yet. He's in Florida. I met my sister. I met my sister in Houston, Texas. So we're down there. So they put him on the phone, and I'm talking to him. And they took a picture of me talking to him, and I didn't realize I was holding Serene as I'm talking to my father for the first time. I was just like,
wow.
Life be lifing', man.
Life be lifing'.
Life be lifing'.
If that's not a shirt, it should be. Wow.
Yeah, man.
I lost my grandmother in 2016, 17 maybe. One of the memories that I had from growing up with her is playing Monopoly on Friday nights.
Oh, yeah.
And you have this game night situation. You said you would be a slumlord in Monopoly.
Yes, absolutely. Monopoly, first of all, I'm a game night head. I love game nights. I want my funeral to be a game night.
Okay.
That's how dedicated I am to the game night.
Game night's a real thing.
Yeah, man. It's a good time. And Monopoly, though, that's one of my favorite games to play. A lot of people don't have the patience for Monopoly.
These were marathon sessions that we had hours long.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a slow burn, but it's serious business.
Yeah.
You got to get your money up.
See, you sound like a slumlord right now.
Serious business. I want my money. I want my cut. I want my percentage.
I want it now.
You on Indiana Avenue,
Right.
3 houses, I need that $750 up off you. I don't care that you're struggling and you're trying to get your utility money together because utilities ain't good money on Monopoly.
I done heard about your game nights, and I don't know if you have to be vegan to attend.
Oh, you ain't got to be vegan.
All right, well,
You coming to the next one?
Yes.
Don't flake.
I'm a game.
I'm really going to hold you to it.
I'm coming.
I'm coming.
And I'm bringing some vegan mac and cheese, too.
Do y'all do categories?
Yes. We do categories, taboo. We play this game called Werewolf.
Oh, Werewolf. That's Clayton
Werewolf
Thomas's
is mad.
I don't know it.
So Werewolf is essentially like we hand out the cards, and in the groups, let's say you got 10 people at the house, one of those persons is a werewolf. You don't know who it is. Their job is to kill everybody in the village. It's called the village, without getting caught. And the people in the village.
It's not. It's called Werewolf.
The Italian guy in the room said that's called
It's
mafia.
a version of that.
Hey, with the
It's a
Italian
version.
stereotypes,
Werewolf.
Steve, just relax.
It's a
I
version
played
of
it at
that.
Clayton Thomas's game night.
Yeah. And so you got to figure out who the werewolf is. And a lot of times they relegate me to narrator. So each game has to have a narrator to set up the scene and to do all the legwork. And so I'm usually the guy like, who do y'all think it is? Great game, brings people together. The Baker boys loved it, because my sons were never good at taboo. But Werewolf. They could hang in there. Yeah.
Mob ties.
There's still time for taboo. If my daughter is not good at taboo, I don't know what she's going to do with her life because that's not unacceptable.
Let me tell y'all why I'm a slumlord in Monopoly real quick.
Yes.
You
dress up like the slumlord too.
Listen, in Monopoly, if you're not familiar with the game, the cheapest properties are right around the corner from Go. They're on that same street as Go and the jailhouse, I believe. In that community, they're not going to put the prison in the, fancy Marvin Gardens, Pennsylvania Avenue, Boardwalk, and Park Place. They're going to keep the jail close to the project.
Like real life.
The Browns.
Yep.
Is the Browns by the jail?
Yeah, because it's on the first corner, it's the jail. The second corner is free parking.
Is it by the Brown?
The other corner is, but it's not brown, it's
not bright.
The projects, Mediterranean and Baltic are the cheapest on the game. They're purple. And then light blue is the other projects. That's the 3. So
never mind.
I like owning that whole block if I can. It's cheap to buy. It's cheap to build up. And when they come around that corner, they just got that fresh paycheck of $200. And you be on Mediterranean Avenue like, I know you just got paid. Let me get that $350 up off you. And it's something that the people can work with because it don't break the bank like Boardwalk and Park Place.
Yeah.
People can afford my project.
All right. Well, I got a couple more questions before I get you out of here. I appreciate your time and energy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Let's normalize saying that vaginas are built for tough.
Yes.
Amen,
because so often, especially in social media, the first thing people say to me when they come after me is, you're a pussy. And I'm like, pussy's so strong.
It is.
And why are you scared of it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The balls are soft, like you said.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Balls are, when you compare a vagina to balls, the balls are way softer than the vagina.
Oh, yeah.
They take poundings, they take punishment, they shoving kids through there.
Right.
And balls.
They shape-shifting.
I think they're shoving kids out of it.
They expand, they contract. Balls are used, there's no toughness there.
That's
the
right.
slightest graze, we're done. The slightest graze, the slightest tug. Even when we shave down there, we're like, ha. The slightest anything. What's your favorite album that you've done for yourself?
My new one, Liberation 2. Are you a fan of Madlib?
I am a fan of Madlib.
Madlib is, I think, the best doing it right now. And I think Liberation 2 is my favorite work. And you know what?
Are you just saying that because it's the newest project?
Well, you know what? I say that all the time for all of my new projects. But the reason why I think I mean it this time is because I mean it because I started working on this album in 2013. This album is now 10 years deep.
Yeah.
I've never spent 10 years working on an album.
Right.
There's 2 or 3 songs on this new album that were recorded 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so it's almost like
time capsule.
A time capsule of my life over the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it keeps getting better.
Yeah.
We're not done working on it.
Dang, 10 years. Why 10 years?
Because honestly, the real reason is because I started working on it around the time when I felt like, you know what, maybe the Black Star album ain't gonna happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We had gone so long without doing another one.
Yeah.
I started looking around at, well, what else can I do? I'm like, you know what? I did a Liberation with Madlib. Maybe I could revisit that. And I started working on that. And right as I started working on that, Yasin Bey was like, we should do a Black Star album.
Okay, gotcha.
Produced by Madlib.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, for myself as a Black Star fan and for the fans, the next thing that you hear with me and Madlib should be Black Star.
Right.
And so I put Liberation on the back burner.
Yeah.
And that was 10 years ago.
Gotcha.
And the Black Star came out this year.
So the Black Star album been in development for a long time too.
So 10 years ago, Yasin said we should do it with Madlib.
Yeah.
We started working on it with Madlib about 4 or 5 years ago. So he said this, and then it was a thought in my head, like there was never actually any work done on it for years. It was just an idea.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know, I kept asking about it, and then I stopped asking him about it. And I think that's how we got the album done. Once I stopped like making it in the forefront of our relationship, it came to be organically.
Less pressure.
Gotcha. Yeah, the pressure was off.
Yeah.
Has he retired from acting? Yasin?
I think he's retired from acting for money. He's retired from acting just to do a job or just to be a part of the industry or part of the business. He has no interest in being a part of business or industry.
Yeah.
He has said that if a project comes across that he wants to be involved, I don't think he'll ever stop being a creative.
Gotcha.
But he certainly is not at all wanting to be in LA or Hollywood or do any of this at all.
I'll say this, and I say this all the time about Yasin Bey. When people ask who's the best rapper actors, I think he is the most diverse rapper actor to ever exist. In terms of, you know, none of his characters are the same in every film that he does. So it's just like he's by far the most diverse. Not saying he's the best in terms of like, you know, but he is the Johnny Depp or, you know, Daniel Day or whoever the chameleon actors are. He falls into that.
Yeah, I agree. I remember watching Something the Lord Made when it came out on HBO. And, you know, when that movie came out.
Love that movie.
You know what? Not Something the Lord Made. He was brilliant in that, but not Something the Lord Made. Monsters Ball.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because Monster Ball had like, you know, it's Billy Bob Thornton in that, right? And Halle Berry and Diddy's in that, and everybody's stepping it up. Heath Ledger, everyone's stepping it up. Right. And I remember Yasin, I was friends with him at the time, but for the first couple of seconds, maybe couple of minutes, I didn't recognize him. Because that's how good he was doing in that movie.
Yeah.
It took me a minute to be like, oh shit, that's Mos Def.
Right. I'm telling you, every role that he did, from The Hitchhiker's Guide to The Galaxy to Brown Sugar to 18 Blocks, it's a different guy every time.
You have this joke for the Queen.
Yes.
It's not just a joke, it's a whole bit.
Yeah.
It's so brilliant. I feel like that should be an animated movie.
Yes.
I feel like For the Queen is a whole project.
Yeah.
Can you take us behind what inspired that joke?
So, like I said, you know, I'm very much into the animal kingdom, and to find out that when bees sting you, they often die when they do it, because when they lose the stinger, their guts come out with the stinger. So it's like, oh man. So it's their last act essentially is to sting the target, and then they just they go off and die. And for me, I'm just like, yo, my take on it is this: that's passion. The fact that you're willing to put your life on the line to do this final act is just, you know, it's inspiring. It's just like, it's romantic in a sense. It's just like, man, how many of y'all are willing to put your life on the line to make your presence felt in that moment?
Right, to stab some old woman in the garden.
Man, it's like, ugh, in the garden.
But what if you don't get a good
Sick of this old bitch in the garden. She's spraying this stuff and make my eyes feel funny. I'm stinging her. And to explain that to another bee is just like, yo, you willing to put your life on the line for this? Take it easy. Nah, I'm doing it. And so The bee
It's
is
like the bee movie,
man,
mashed up with Braveheart.
Yeah, to make it intense.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't realize about most of the bees that you see are female. Mm-hmm. The ones that we see pollinating and doing all this stuff, even though I sound like a guy when I do the act out, because, you know, most of the bees that we see are women out here pollinating. And bees are essential for, you know, the ecosystem.
That's right.
And it's the women out here doing the heavy lifting. Mm-hmm. You'll occasionally see male bees, but they're normally in the hive droning it up.
Doing nothing.
Droning it up.
Droning it up for the queen. So shout out to the ladies of Beeville. That's right. But that whole bit.
And see, that's the name of the town. We put in this film together.
Yeah, Beeville.
Love it.
And I'm just amazed by, that's why I never kill bees.
Well, there's been a bee problem, right? They've been disappearing.
Yeah.
So
Erykah Badu mentioned it on her that mixtape she put out a while ago.
New America?
No, the my telephone.
The phone joint.
Every time I see bees, I'm always concerned, making sure they're good or whatever, and I never kill them. I never agitate them.
Man, I killed a bee by mistake the other day.
Oh man,
There was a bee. It was bee flew in.
Yeah,
I know, and bee flew in is in my space.
Yeah,
that's not gonna go down.
Right,
one of us got to go. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
not
inside,
just be
right? You didn't knock on the door.
You can catch it though.
No, but that's what happened. I'm gonna tell you what happened. So I went to catch it, and I went. It's terrible. I had the cup. He was on the glass. I went and he moved and bow.
You broke the glass?
Caught him on the just right.
Cut him in half?
We didn't cut him in half, but just seriously maimed him.
Right.
But, you know, then he fell, right? I picked it, her.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know what this bee identifies as, though.
Oh, my God.
I don't know how this bee
That's
identifies.
true.
So picked it up.
Yeah, right.
It's them.
Picked they up in the cup. And put it outside on the balcony.
Dead and cut in half?
No. It was still alive.
Oh, it was still alive.
But I didn't realize how hurt it was. I'm on a balcony 37 feet up.
Yeah.
And I went and the bee just fell all the way down.
Oh.
I thought it was going to fly.
Tortured the bee and then threw him out the window.
Yeah.
You're a monster. I don't know.
But he tried. I'll give you credit for trying.
I did try because I was like, I'm going to try to get it out.
Yeah. Because you didn't just straight shoo it up. Because I've done that. Like, you know, I get a lot of spiders in my house. There's been times where they'll move right as the cup is coming in.
Right.
And so I remember this one spider moved and I caught the legs and the legs came off. Spiders are easy to kill.
But they grow back, their legs.
They're flimsy. Mm-hmm. So the spider was in the cup and I was just like, sorry, you know what I'm saying? He was just in the cup, you know what I'm saying?
Did you vocally say sorry?
Yeah, I was just, man, you move. And then I poured the legs back on the spider, like, here your legs back, knowing the spider can't do nothing with the legs. So then I started thinking as the spider, imagine a serial killer, whatever, cuts your appendages off.
Sorry.
And then throws them back on you. Like, here's your legs and your hand. Like, oh, you monster. You monster. I'm sorry. And then I threw it back outside.
You have a joke about not wanting a fly to land on your penis, which I think is a strange joke.
Yeah.
Right, to be thinking about. But I relate to this joke.
Very relevant.
I relate to this joke because I don't fuck with flies. Like, famously, I don't fuck with flies.
And
like,
especially on his penis.
So when you heard that joke, I'm like, this is traumatizing me. I definitely want to hear about this. But it made me think about being a kid and going into the urinals.
Yeah.
And you go into the urinal and they have a picture of a fly on the urinal. The ladies don't know about this. Jasmine is making a face. You don't know about this. But you know about this, right? I don't know if they do it that much anymore.
Yeah.
But y'all know about this? When you go in a urinal and there's a picture of a fly. And so your joke made me research why they do that.
Yeah.
And they do that because it's a target. It's called a urinal target.
That y'all miss.
And because when they first made toilets and urinals back in the days, men were peeing everywhere.
Yeah.
Men were missing just wee.
But wait, when did it stop?
It's never stopped.
When did y'all stop peeing everywhere?
But what's funny is that
the droplets.
They picked a fly because they said this is the creature that people most want to pee on.
Wow.
This is what I researched.
We want to pee on flies? I've never thought about peeing on the fly.
But you thought about fly landing on your penis?
Absolutely.
First of all, that explains why there's always pee all over the place, because flies are fast and y'all sitting there.
Exactly. That's the thing. When flies are around and they land a lot, I don't want it landing on my penis because I feel like it's done at that point. I'm cashing it in. I'm done.
You're done.
And then every time they land, they doing this.
Right, they doing this. They rubbing their hands like Birdman.
Rubbing your penis. I thought y'all liked that.
So they doing this on the Johnson coming from anywhere.
Not washing his
Coming
hands
from some
first.
shit they just
Man,
waited
they
on.
just like, oh man, I just was.
It's the
And you know the
fly
color
hands.
of my penis, not to be too graphic, but it might match the color of shit in some
It
circles.
might just match.
Yeah.
All right, that was definitely too graphic.
What, you draw the line of shit-colored penis?
Yeah, that's it.
But
Now,
that's
now I'm uncomfortable.
That's the color of poop sometimes, and the penises match up. If you were a fly and you saw something brown and long and kind of misshapen, yeah, that looked like a turd.
I'm not old enough to be on this show right now. I need
Maybe you're too young to be on this show.
That's the same thing.
You got to expand your horizons.
Ladies and gentlemen, the People's Party is proud to have Tony Baker in the house.
Thank y'all, man. It's an honor to be here, man. I've been waiting for this.
I'm glad we ended with shit jokes.
Yeah, you got to end with the shit joke.